Alright, good morning everyone. Time to start our next lesson. 6.2, adding and subtracting rational expressions. The big thing we're going to take away from this, as we remembered in grade school, is we want to have common denominators. Okay, this is important. Okay, common denominators. So, the fancy way to talk about this is talking about least common multiples. And we're going to use least common multiples to create those common denominators. So in example 1, we're going to find the least common multiple of 4x squared minus 36 and 6x squared plus 36x plus 54. Alright, so step 1 is find the prime factors. Okay, so as it sounds, we're going to have to factor. So in blue, I'll do 4x squared minus 36, and in this purplish color, I'll do that one. So 4x squared minus 36. First thing we're going to look for is a greatest common factor, which happens to be 4. So if we divide both terms by 4, we get x squared minus 9. Then we factor x squared minus 9 becomes x plus 3, x minus 3. Alright, and then for our numbers or constants or integers and all that, we have to do our prime factor trees. So two prime numbers that go into 4 would be 2 times 2. And we can't break down 2 anymore because it's a prime number. So I'll end up with x minus 3 times x plus 3. Alright, so that's that one completely factored down to its prime factors. Next, we'll break down this big one. Of 6x squared plus 36x plus 54. Now, as you notice from the last section, not everything just factors nice and easily. You got to look for that greatest common factor first. So in this one, greatest common factor is 6. So I can divide each of these terms by 6. And I get x squared plus 6x plus 9. Okay, so we'll factor x squared plus 6x plus 9. So basically factors of 9 that add to 6. Be plus 3 and plus 3. So I'll get x plus 3 times x plus 3. And as in the blue part over there, we have to break down 6. Prime factors that go into 6 would be 2 times 3 times x plus 3 times x plus 3. Now 2 and 3 are prime, so we're done there. The x squared plus 6 plus 9 is factored down, so that's broken down completely. So now this is what we call down to our prime factors. So the next part for this example is we're going to rate each prime factor the greatest number of times it appears. Alright, so we're going to look at it piece by piece. So from left to right, I have 2's. Okay. And then this blue side, 2 shows up 2 times. And on the right side, 2 shows up 1 time. So the greatest amount of times 2 shows up between the two problems is 2 times. So I'm going to write 2 times. Alright, so the 2's are done. Now, coefficients wise, I have a 3 here. Alright, and 3 shows up 1 time in the expression on the right. So that's all we have to write is 1 time. Now we'll go to our other expressions. So 2's done, 3's done. I have an x minus 3 right there. So x minus 3 shows up 1 time in the blue and none in the purple. So at most, it shows up one time. So I'm going to write it one time. Now I'll go to x plus 3 here. Shows up one time in the blue, 2 times in the purple. Alright, so the greatest number of times x plus 3 shows up is 2. Not total number of times, which a lot of times people want to say 3. It's the greatest number between the two expressions. So this is written out as such. 2 times 2 times 3 times x minus 3 times x plus 3 times x plus 3. Alright, and if we want to clean it up now, I'll do 2 times 2, which will give me 4, times 3 will give me 12. So I'll have 12 times x minus 3. And I have 2x plus 3, so I'll just write it x plus 3 quantity squared. Alright, promise these first 2 examples are a little more confusing than we actually get into adding and subtracting. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing. So again, I'll do 3x squared minus 9x minus 30 in blue, and then I'll do 6x plus 30 in purple. So 3x squared minus 9x minus 30. Greatest common factor looks like it would be 3, so I'll factor out a 3. X squared minus 3x minus 10. Take each term divided by 3. Now it looks like we'll have factors of negative 10. First times last gives me negative 10. 1 and 10, 2 and 5. Looks like a positive 2 and a negative 5 make negative 3. So it'll be 3 times x plus 2 times x minus 5. And 3 is prime, so I can't break that down any further. So that one's done. Then I'll have 6x plus 30. Greatest common factor is 6. Both terms are divisible by 6, so I get 6x plus 5. Now 6 can be broken down to 2 times 3 times x plus 5. 2 and 3 are prime, so we're done. So just like the previous problem, we're going to write it the greatest number of times they show up. So starting from left to right, I have a 3 right there, and it shows up one time there, and one time over here. So at most, 3 shows up one time. Okay, so the 3's are done. Check marks there. Now my other numbers I have is 2. So 2 shows up one time on the right, no times on the left. So at most it shows up one time. So now I'm done with 2. Check that one off. Go to our traditional expressions. I have an x plus 2 on the left, none on the right. So x plus 2. Alright, that x plus 2 is done now. Then we got x minus 5 right here. One time on the left, none on the right. So it's x minus 5. Hopefully you guys can't hear the Toy Story playing in the background, but if not, enjoy. So x plus 5, then we have that over there. One time on the right, none on the left. So at most, one time. Boom. So all of my terms are now accounted for. I have everything going on right here. So let's clean up a little. 3 times 2 brings me back to 6 times x plus 2 times x minus 5 times x plus 5. Final answer. Just these two problems and their least common multiples. So if they're in denominators, that's what they would have to look like in order to add them together. So let's get to the meat and potatoes here. So the theme for section 6.1, 6.2, and 6.3 is you have to factor everything. Alright, so that's what we have to do. So what needs to be factored in this expression is the bottom left and the bottom right. So off to the side, let's do my bottom left. Okay, and that's going to be x squared plus 5x plus 4. So first times last gives me 4. Factors of 4 are 1 and 4, and 2 and 2. The way they add the 5 is positive 1 and positive 4. So this becomes x plus 1 and x plus 4. Bottom left is done. Now we got to do bottom right. Okay. Nice easy one to factor, because all this has is a greatest common factor, which is 3. So I'll pull the 3 out. X plus becomes 3 times x plus 1. Alright, factored. Now I'll rewrite it. I guess I should write the steps off to the side here. So step 1, factor. So 1 over x plus 1, x plus 4, plus 5x divided by 3 times x plus 1. Alright, so in order to add fractions, you have to have your common denominator. Okay, so if we look at these two fractions right here and here, alright, we want to have them, make them have the same denominators. Okay, so what does this left hand side have? Well, yeah, what does this left side have that the right hand side needs? Alright, so the right hand side is a 3 and an x plus 1. Left hand side is an x plus 1 and an x plus 4. So that means the right hand side needs x plus 4. So now both sides have an x plus 1 and an x plus 4. The right hand side has a 3, x plus 1, and x plus 4. The left hand side is now missing the 3. So when you make common denominators, remember you multiply the top and the bottom by your bottom. Okay, so now we can clean this up and condense our fractions. Alright, condense fractions. Okay, so top left, I'm going to get 3 plus, let's distribute here. We have 5x squared plus 20x. All divided by our denominator, okay? They're both the same, so we just need to write one of them. So it becomes 3 times x plus 1 times x plus 4. Okay, so now we just have to simplify. Clean it up and simplify. Okay, so I have 5x squared plus 20x plus 3 divided by 3 times x plus 1 times x plus 4. Alright, now we got to do quick check to see if the top is factorable. So 5 times 3 gives me 15. 1 and 15. 3 and 5. Any way we can make them add the 20? No. So, can't factor. Just call it prime. Alright. Don't do the quadratic formula. I saw some of you are doing that in your assignment for the last section. Alright, so we got that simplified, and then the last part is your restrictions. Okay, so I'll do it in a different color. So x can't equal -1 or -4. And that again comes from right here and right here. So, final answer. Looks kind of crazy, but that's what happens when you add two fractions together. Alright. So moving right along. Factor what we have to. We got 2x plus 2 and x squared minus 2x minus 3. Okay. So in green, do top right. 2x plus 2 has the greatest common factor of 2. X plus 1. Bottom right. X squared minus 2x minus 3. So first times last gives me 3, 1 and 3. The only way it can work is a -3 and a +1. So x plus 1, x minus 3. Okay, factored. Step 1 is now complete, so factor. Alright, and we'll rewrite, so x over x minus 3 plus 2 times x plus 1 divided by x plus 1 times x minus 3. Alright, so again, key thing, just got to think. So some crazy terminology is thrown in here, at least common multiples, what's this side have and that side have. Big thing we need to know is just common denominators. So my denominators need to be the same in order to add this together. Alright, so we look at the left-hand side, okay? What does this side have, the right side has or needs? We look on the right-hand side, well, it has an x minus 3, so we're good. And we'll go back to it. So the right-hand side has an x plus 1, but the left-hand side does not. So that means the left-hand side needs x plus 1. Because again, common denominators, they have to be the same. So what I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. Alright, so step 2, common denominators. Okay. Alright, so after that's done, now we can condense the fraction. Alright, so in the bottom is our common denominator part, which is our x plus 1. And our x minus 3. Okay, so here I'll distribute the x. I get x squared plus x. And I guess I'll distribute those 2 back out, even though we just factored it. So plus 2x plus 2. Alright. Step 4 will be to simplify. So then we get over here x squared plus 3x plus 2 over x plus 1 times x minus 3. We'll check to see if we can factor the top. So you get 2. So factors of 2 are 1 and 2. Plus 1 plus 2 make 3. So here we go. That's a plus 1 and plus 2 right there. So I'll have x plus 1, x plus 2 over x plus 1 times x minus 3. And from the last section, we know we can cross off x plus 1 and x plus 1. Sorry, I didn't leave myself enough room. So follow the arrows. That's kind of how we're doing this. You get x plus 2 divided by x minus 3. Where x can't equal, restrictions, can't equal, and this comes back from before we simplified, -1 and +3. And this concludes the addition of that. Alright, digest that. I know y'all probably hate me right now, but sorry. The learning must continue. Example 5, I mean. Factor. So, bottom left. Get x squared minus 4x minus 12. Factors of 12, 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. So I'm going to use a -6 and a +2. So I get x plus 2, x minus 6. Bottom right. I have 4x plus 8. Greatest common factor is 4, so x plus 2. Factored forms. Okay. Factor. I'm going to rewrite it. Sorry. 1 divided by x plus 2, x minus 6, plus 3x divided by 4 times x plus 2. Alright, common denominators. Okay. So left hand side has x plus 2, x minus 6. Right hand side has a 4 and an x plus 2. Left hand side needs the 4. It already has the x plus 2. The right hand side, now we have a 4x plus 2, 4x plus 2. It needs the x minus 6. There we go. So we got our common denominators. Now let's condense the fraction. Alright. So on top I got, hold on, let's just make the bottom for right now. It's 4, x plus 2, and x minus 6. Common denominator now. So 4 times 1 gives me 4, top left. Distribute the 3x, and we get plus 3x squared minus 18x. Okay. Clean it up again, reorganize the top. So 3x squared minus 18x plus 4, all divided by 4 times x plus 2 and x minus 6. Okay. Simplify if we can. So first times last gives me 12. Don't think there's any factors of 12 that can make 18, no matter how we slice it. Yeah, there's no way. So again, we get another one that's prime, which is great because then you don't have to factor and cancel out more things. So that's prime, leave it there, and then we'll state our restrictions. Okay, so x can't equal bottoms -2 and +6. final answer. Okay. Okay, last example. Subtraction. Now, subtraction is no different than addition, just with the minus sign. Alright, so basically this will become addition here, and then that goes to the negative on top. Okay? So you can leave it like that. You don't have to. I like addition, so I like to make it look like that. Alright, so let's factor. What we can. Looks like bottom left and bottom right both need to be factored. Get 5x squared minus 125. So, pull out a greatest common factor, 5, get x squared minus 25. This is one of the ones you had in your assignment. So factors of 25 that make 0 are positive 5 and negative 5. Factored. Done. Bottom right. Is 3x plus 15. Greatest common factor is 3. So you get 3 and x plus 5. Boom. Rewrite it. 7x divided by 5 times x plus 5. X minus 5 plus negative 4 over 3 times x plus 5. Boom. Factored, rewritten, ready to find our common denominators. Alright, back in the fight. So the left-hand side has 5, x plus 5, x minus 5. Right-hand side is 3, and then x plus 5. So I gotta make, again, just trying to make everything look the same. So I notice on the right-hand side it has a 3. The left-hand side doesn't have a 3. So I'm gonna add a 3. Alright, and the right-hand side has an x plus 5. I have an x plus 5 on the left, so we're good. Right-hand side, don't forget to multiply to the top. Right-hand side is missing a 5. So multiply 5 on the top. Has a 3, has the x plus 5. And also notice it needs the x minus 5. There we go. So both bottoms have a 3, 3, 3, 5, 5, x plus 5, x plus 5, x minus 5, x minus 5. Great. Awesome. Now we can move on. Let me erase my dots. Okay, now we'll condense. Okay, I'm gonna get 21x. Now this negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. Okay, so then we'll do negative 20 times x and negative 5. So I got 21x minus 20x plus 100. All divided by 3, 5, x plus 5, and x minus 5. We are now condensed. Let's simplify. Okay. 21x minus 20x is just positive 1x plus 100. All divided by 3 times 5 is 15. So x plus 5, x minus 5. You can leave it as 3 times 5, it doesn't matter. And then we say x Restrictions, restrictions, restrictions. First one comes from there, -5. Second one's right there, which is +5. Erase my arrows. Bam. There we go. Subtracted. Look crazier, but this is kind of the process that we go through with it. All right. Assignment will be 1 through 8. Again, submit them on Google Classroom. I'll make revisions, and then I'll send it back to you. I will post the very detailed answer key after everyone has submitted their assignment. All right, guys, have a great day.